Shalom YouTube, hey guys, it's Fletch. Welcome back to OTH. Today we're going to be looking at the idea or the concept of matched pistol and carbine pairs. Stick around, we'll be right back. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. So as you can see right now, we are looking at two high points here. Yes, I said high points. Imagine that. But so here we have the high point 45, and this part that you see sticking over it right here is a grip, which is originally intended for racket sports, but it works really well on these high point grips because, and I intentionally don't have one on this one so you can see it, but they're a little slick. They don't have as much stippling on there and traction as you might find on other pistol gripped firearms that are out there. And then here we have the high point 45 carbine, and it's rocking a TLR1 Streamlight, you know, forward grip, a hi-lux red dot sight. And like I said, they both shoot a 45. And also, like we were talking about, one of the really nice ideas or concepts of systems like this is that, especially for those of you that may be new to the world of firearms, this magazine can come out of my pistol and go right back into my carbine, or the carbine magazine will go into the pistol. And yes, they're loaded. Firearms that aren't loaded don't do you much good in your house, but obviously you need to store them safely. And I've done videos talking about that in and of itself. So having said that, a couple of things I wanted to talk about this is the nice thing about having a pistol and a carbine that not only shoot the same caliber, but the same magazine is cost savings. And so especially some of you that may be new into the world of preparedness, survivalism, being a prepper, self-sufficiency, whatever you want to call it, it's one magazine that works for both. In these high point systems, I believe the old ones didn't, but I'm pretty sure that the new ones do. And the pistol magazines work in all the carbines, and they have them all the way from they have 380 ACP, 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, and 45 ACP. All of the magazines are interchangeable between them. So, if you're buying extra mags, well, they work in both. And so, likewise, in a defecation hits the oscillation scenario, if one of these goes down, you can take the magazine out of it and use it in another. And so you have good systems. Now, having said that, I will tell you right now that a lot of people, and you'll be able to see the comments, will be poo-pooing the whole idea or the whole concept of having high point firearms. And guys, here's where I'm coming from with this. I am not telling you that high point firearms are serious professional grade weapons for operators. No, I'm definitely not telling you that. However, what I am telling you, and hopefully the message that I am trying to get across, everyone deserves to be able to use and practice their Second Amendment rights, right? No one should be forced to have to buy a $1,000 weapon just to have a reliable firearm. And yes, guys, high point firearms are reliable. Mine certainly have been. This 45 I've had for 5-6 years now, and the carbine I just got, but I've already ran 300 or 400 rounds through it over the last month or so. 100% reliable, not even one issue with it. And another nice thing about the high point firearms is they have a no questions asked warranty. On the 45 pistol, I had a problem with one of the sights. All of the paint fell out of the sight, and then the slide wouldn't lock back on it because I dropped it doing some training. I don't know for sure. I think, and it still fired. It still worked perfectly fine, but the slide wouldn't lock back. And so I called High Point, and they said, "Yep, no problem. Send it in." I sent it in, and they just put a whole brand new slide assembly and barrel in it and sent it back to me. So, I didn't have to prove that I owned it, that I bought it, or anything like that. And that is the way that the High Point warranties work. So even this carbine here, I bought this carbine used, but same thing. I'm the owner of it now. If I had any problems with it, I could send it in. Now again, guys, having said that, I'm not telling you that if you can afford something more or better than this to not do that, because I'm absolutely not telling you that. If you can afford better systems, then I would say do it, right? But at the same time, you should not go without either. And so the High Point carbine, a pistol, fill a niche from that. And now I have much better pistols than this High Point 45. But the fact of the matter is at one point in time, because of my health situation, this was the best firearm that I could afford at the time, and I was very grateful to have it to be able to protect my family. But so now that things aren't like that anymore, and I have much better pistols than this, why do I still have it? Because it's a good, reliable firearm. It's pretty simple. And while we're talking about High Points, one thing that I wanted to add just real quick, there's a reason why a lot of gun store owners refuse to sell these. And no, it's not because they're all poop. And I'm sure, someone's going to, try to roll in here and tell you a story about their, cousin's brother's uncle twice removed, brother's son that, had it done blowed up in his face, some, fallacy like that. When I first started getting into buying these, I went to one of the most successful firearms dealers in Montana and talked to him about them. And I said, a lot of the stores, were up where I live, refuse to carry these. And, so it's refreshing to see that you have, lots of these in stock. And the gentleman was like, well, of course. And I said, well, would you mind sharing with me why you're not afraid to sell these and everyone else is? And he said, well, it's because I know how to run a business. I'm not just a gunsmith. I was like, well, okay. Please do tell. And so he says, well, so here's how I look at it. He says, so when I started selling High Points, he says, honestly, I was a little bit leery because I didn't really know what to expect. He says, I bought one, I took it out and shoot it. It performed well. I didn't have any problems with it. And, it was a low price entry level weapon for people. But what he found is that out of all of the weapons that he had, it was the one that had the least amount of returns. One, because they are, decently made weapons, but also two, because they have a lifetime warranty and you just send them into the factory and the factory takes care of them. And so, he's not taking a hit on it. The next two parts are probably the most important, and why, if you go into a gun store and ask them about High Point, that they're going to start giving you attitude. Here's the first one. The higher the price tag is, the more you make on a sale. So let's just pick a number. And the point of this is not that the number is correct, it's just to give you an example. So if we are selling a $1,000 weapon, and let's say we have a 20% profit margin on, and again, it's not about whether or not the profit margin is right, it's just simply easy math. So if I sell a $1,000 weapon, I make $200 off of it. Awesome. 20% of $200 is $40. So, take your pick. Would you rather have $200 per sale on a weapon or $40, per weapon? And also, guys, there's a reason why, like those of you that are members of the NRA and you're reading their publications, there's a reason why, Kimber, Wilson Combat, all excellent, high-quality weapons, guys. But there's a reason why they can afford to take out full-page ads. You know, they don't have to cost that much to be a high quality, reliable firearm. And there's a reason why they can afford to pay for all of those full page ads, and we'll leave it at that. The second thing that he taught me is that he is a business person, and he understood. And this is how he explained it to me. He said, well, Fletch, here's what I understand that a lot of gun store owners don't understand. He says, I understand that when you come into my store today and I'm selling you, you know, 2 of these, I think at the time I was buying the 2 9mm pistols as starter weapons for my boys. He says, when you're here in my store, he says, you're going to be buying ammunition, you're going to be buying other things, and it's bringing you into my store. You're not here just to buy a firearm. And by selling you what you can afford for now, I'm getting you as a customer. If you came into my store and I told you, no, I would never sell anyone a piece of crap like that, well, I might probably offend you, and you're going to leave my store and you're not going to buy anything and you're not going to be a customer. But by selling you a decent quality entry-level firearm, such as a Hi-Point, you're going to stay here. You're going to buy other stuff that I make a lot more profit on anyways than firearms. So there you have it. But so what are we talking about here as far as price goes? You can find used Hi-Point firearms, or pistols rather, I'd say in a little over $100, something like that. Used Hi-Point carbines you can find for, I'd say, about $150 to $200, something like that. A good friend of mine sold me this one for about $150, something like that. Combined, right, you might be talking about as little as $300 or so, and you've got, you know, a weapon system that not only shoots the same round, so there's only one type of ammunition that you need to buy, but it also uses the exact same magazine in both. These are 9-rounders. The 9mm will come in 10, and there are some extended magazines that are out there now that are aftermarket that I guess are actually pretty good, that you could use if you wanted that. One reason why I wanted this 45, as you can see, you know, it's fairly well outfitted with a red dot and a TLR1, is it's a great brush gun. We live on a homestead in the Ozarks, and you know, that big old fat, you know, 45 round, we've had issues with raccoons, we've had issues with armadillos. I do have some neighbors that, depending on the direction, are fairly near. So I don't want to be out there with my AR or my AK, you know, trying to dispatch them. And not only that, but, you know, the 5.56 or the 223 round, one, it can travel pretty far, and also two, that's a light round that's moving very fast. And so if you hit a twig or brush or something like that, it can affect the flight of the round and cause you to miss what you're shooting at, which is a nice thing about the 45. And also with the 45 carbine, you're getting, I think the last that I checked, on average, it's about another 100 feet per second, depending on the round. I think that's, you know, the best, like plus P plus. And by the way, blowback style carbines love plus P and plus P plus rounds. And these weapons are plus P rated. You're not going to hurt it by doing that. A couple other things to think about and to be mindful of, and be like, okay, Fletch, well, you know, I hear the wisdom in what you're saying about having, you know, matched pistol and carbine sets, but, you know, I'm never going to own a Hi-Point. Okay, great. The good news is there's plenty of other systems that are out there. See, in no particular order, kel-tec makes the CMR, as in Charlie Motel Romeo, and the PMR, as in Papa Motel Romeo 30. So the CMR 30 and the PMR 30, it is a pistol and carbine set, and that shoots a 22 WMR, which is a 22 caliber bullet, you know, kind of, sort of, like a 223 or 5.56. It's a very small projectile traveling extremely fast. There's another option for you. Another option for you might be, and some of them would also be lower cost. You could look into a 357 Magnum combination. So like an old lever gun, like a Henry Arms, and then a 357 wheel gun. That would be another nice option. And if you're newer to the world of firearms, is something else to consider. The 357 Magnum will also fire 38 Special as well. So, you could use both there. Now, obviously, you're not going to have magazine compatibility because a lever gun has a tube feed, not magazine feed. But again, it's only one round that you would need. And a 357 round fired out of a 16-inch barrel is pretty devastating. And if you've never looked at the tables for that, I encourage you to do so. Like I said, the 357 Magnum round fired out of a 16-inch barrel is a very capable weapon, especially for close to mid-range. So another one that I would recommend, especially even for maybe even operator type level, is MacTech. And MECHTECH. MacTech is a Montana company. I found out about it when I lived in Montana, and I do know people that are, for lack of a better term, professional grade people that use the MacTech Carbine series. And the reason why is because it uses 10 millimeter. And again, just like the 357 Magnum, and actually the 10 millimeter and 357 Magnum have very similar ballistics to them. And the 10 millimeter round fired through a 16-inch barrel is very formidable. So, and then you compare that with the Glock 20, which also fires 10 millimeter, and it uses the exact same magazine, and they do also have an extended magazine that you can get for the Glock 20 as well. And one other nice thing about the MacTech, $400-ish, and it's just the upper. And so what you do is you get yourself a Glock 20 lower, and then you just slide that upper on the Glock lower, and then you have a completed weapon. MacTech 10 millimeter upper has lot 1911 rails on it, Picatinny. It's a very nice system, we'll just put it that way, and it is also very reliable. The next is the Beretta CX4 Storm, and that's another one that I would say, if you have more money and you're able to invest more, that's another one I would recommend, the CX4 Storm. And then that also uses the PX4 magazines and the same ammunition, obviously, as well as the 90 series and the 8000 series magazines with adapters. You could have a PX4 and a CX4 and be completely interchangeable there as well, magazine and round, just like with the high points. And another one, a real popular one, especially with preppers, is the kel-tec Sub 2000 and 9mm Glock magazine. That's another one where you're completely interchangeable with both magazine and round. And the nice thing about the Sub 2000, if you can find one, it's a foldable weapon system, we'll just call it that, and so it takes up very little space, easily fit inside a duffel bag or a backpack. Okay, so one last thing keep in mind too is there are plenty of AR-15 platform kits that you can get that will give you your same AR-15 look, feel, and familiarization. The three most common rounds right now: 45, 40, and 9mm. And it will take the different magazines as well. A lot of them will. And so just some other things to think about and to know that they're out there. As I said in the beginning, one of the main reasons why you might want to look into a system like this is especially for people that are new into preparedness. Also, just trying to get your feet wet, so to speak, in the world of firearms and preparedness. Buying a quote-unquote matched set like this, no matter who you choose, might be a good option for you because it's the same magazines and the same round. Well, guys, if you have any questions about the Hi-Point carbine, the Hi-Point 45, feel free to leave your questions below. Let me rephrase that. Any serious, honest question, if I'm able to answer it for you, I'd be more than happy to. I hope you're having a blessed day. If you enjoy videos like this, please hit the subscribe button, and you'll see upcoming videos in your subscription feed. And when you're doing the subscribe step, if you click on the bell, it will give you the option to be notified via email every time a new video is uploaded to the channel as well. And we always appreciate the thumbs up. Thank you very much, and I hope that you are having a blessed and wonderful day. Shalom.